Hello everyone, this is Carly at Crafting with Class, and today I have some distance learning thank you cards that I created for my students who joined me for distance learning. So it was very challenging, but they hung in there, so I just wanted to send them a little thank you card for doing so. Here are the supplies that I used for the cards. So beginning with the chalkboard stamp set from Stampendous. This is an older one, so it may not be available anymore. This is Graduation Girl from MFT and a sentiment from that. This is the Good Apple stamp set from Fawn. I use the chalkboard, the ruler, and apple in the thanks sentiment along with the chalkboard die. This one is Scripty sentiment Spanish, and I use the muchas gracias from that one. And this is Knowledge from MFT that I don't think is available anymore. Finally, I used some inks from Hero Arts for those messages and a notebook paper embossing folder for the cover of my cards. So let's get started on how these came together. I started by stamping the chalkboard in Versamark ink because I wanted to heat emboss these in silver, because I wanted to create whiteboards rather than chalkboards. So I inked them up, and I am sprinkling some silver embossing powder, flicking off any of the excess, and then putting it back in the little jar. Then I went on to the next panel and repeated the steps. Use my embossing buddy, remove any static, ink up my stamp with Versamark ink, stamp it onto the paper, add silver embossing powder to it, and then I'm going to set these aside so that I can heat emboss them all at the same time. But it's best when you're doing multiples to just go ahead and do them in batches and in steps. I think it makes it easier. I have this nonstick sheet adhered to a clipboard, and I went ahead and clipped 3 of the little whiteboards on there so that I could heat emboss 3 at a time, which made the process go faster. Then I went ahead and stamped the images that were going to be in gray, which was the thanks, the apple, and the little ruler. So stamped those in gray. This is where having a stamp positioner like this makes things so much easier. You can do things quicker because you don't have to rearrange anything. So this is definitely a must-have for mass production. I went ahead and lined up the 3 colored ink cubes along the side so I can pick them up quickly one at a time, ink up the stamps, and then stamp the images onto my little chalkboard, or whiteboard in this case. This is the Muchas Gracias Scripty sentiment that I wanted to stamp over the thanks. And so I masked it off along the sides with just a scrap piece of paper so it wouldn't go off the edge of the whiteboard, and then stamped it in black. Next, I wanted to stamp a little A+ behind the ruler, so I kind of had to mask it with a corner of scrap paper, which was no problem. Then I wanted to color in the apples, so I just used a couple of Copic colors, nothing fancy, just to color in all of the apples on each of them. And then I colored in all the rulers in yellow, and I only used one color just to make it simple. Okay, so now I went ahead and taped down the die and cut out all of the little whiteboards with the coordinating die. There they are, all cut out. Next, I needed to emboss the notebook paper onto the front of each card to give it some dimension. So I put the embossing folder, ran it through my die cutting machine, and embossed the fronts of all of the cardstock bases. Then I stamped "I'm extremely proud of you" in between each of the lines that is embossed by the embossing folder. Then I went back and added some color to the stems of the apples with just a brown Copic marker, and filled in the little leaves on each of the apples with a green Copic marker. Again, nothing fancy, keeping it simple because I have to mass produce these. Okay, next I took a T2 or T4 Copic marker and went ahead and colored in the middle part of the whiteboards. So really easy, really quick, going along the edges and color those in. Then I added adhesive to the back of the whiteboards. I peeled back the liner and just set them up so that I can just grab them, stick them onto the card bases so it would go quickly. Finally, I added some embellishments by using these little star confetti in gold and in silver. So I just added some little adhesive dots and then picked up the little stars with my crystal katana, placed them on top of the little dots of glue, and that was it for the embellishment of these. Wanted to keep them simple. And I stamped the globe inside just for a little detail on the inside of the cards. Here are all 25 cards ready to go out to my students' homes. I am really proud of them. It was not easy distance learning, but even though my district gave everybody credit, regardless, these guys still showed up, and that means a lot to me. Thanks so much for watching. Be well, stay healthy, and if you're interested in any more of my videos, I invite you to take a peek at the ones I have recommended here. Until next time, bye!